Hi, welcome to this fortnight's video blog. Thanks for linking in. Really glad you have. And I want this to be the first of maybe 3 or 4 on the whole area of the leader's well-being. The last few video blogs have been about, if you like, the leader's well-doing, the how of leadership. How do you build a culture? How do you make decisions? Even how do you have fun? But the next few are going to look at the whole personal side of leadership, the human side of leadership, the internal resources of leadership, and we're going to do that. And so today's thought is that healthy leaders are marginal leaders. Healthy leaders are marginal leaders. And by that I mean that the importance of building margin into your life in the leadership journey that you're on. And a quick definition of a margin is the gap between your load and your limit. And the gap between your load and your limit. And your load is really the capacity you need to do your regular ongoing leadership role. What's normally required of you in the leadership role you have. And the limit is what you could do if you were pushed to the maximum of all your resources. So that's what you could do if you were really pushed. And the gap between those two is the margin. And it's really important. We all know we can work at our limit for a period of time. I would suggest a short period of time, for a short season maybe, but not to be continued. We've all done it, haven't we? Maybe at university where you've had an assignment due this Friday and you have to pull a couple of all-nighters to get it done in time, to get in time and not lose marks or fail the subject. Or in the workspace, we've got a project due in a fortnight and we know that there's going to be a lot of late nights at work or working from home a lot after hours or a lot more meetings. And we can do that in order to get the thing done on time and to get the project delivered well. But you can't keep living that way constantly at your limit, or else it has dire effects on you in many, many ways. You can get by for a short period of time, but if it's constant or consistent, it'll affect you in your emotions. You will feel like you're drained more than you should be. It will affect your mind or thinking time. You will not be able to be as creative as you would like to be or you normally are. It can encroach on your family time. It can take away from that. It can just affect you detrimentally in the whole being a human being, to needing time to breathe and be by yourself for a while if you're constantly living at your limit. So you need margins to be able to function well in your time. And it can be a trap for people in leadership because normally people in leadership have got a pretty high capacity and as well as that love a challenge. And when you combine those two, a high capacity and thriving on a challenge, there's always something more to be done. There's always something you could do extra in the workspace to get going. And if you're in a startup, for example, particularly, maybe you're starting up a organization or a business or a church. When you're in the startup space, there's always more to be done in the least amount of time to build momentum to get the thing going. So you combine that thriving with a challenge and that high capacity, and the temptation is to just keep working to your limit, and that will have detrimental effect on you. So healthy leaders have live with good margins, and that's in all areas, not just time. We need that, but it's also energy. For example, you can build margins in terms of time. You can get home in plenty of time with your family, but you won't have the energy to be with your family and to make that an effective time. So it's time, it's energy, it's emotions, it's finances. It's you need margins in finance as much as we can because you never know when an emergency is going to crop up and you need to meet that emergency. You need margin in terms of people contact. Sometimes you get peopled out. You just need to put boundaries in the people contact you will have for a period of time just to build those healthy margins in. So healthy leaders are margin leaders. They build good margins in their lives. So let me just remind you of 3 words to remember as we bring this thought to conclusion. The first one is intentional. You need to be intentional about building margin in your life. It doesn't just happen naturally or in the ordinary, run-of-the-mill of life. You have to be intentional about putting good habits, good disciplines in to make sure that that it happens. Second word is sustainable. To live at your limit regularly means you're unsustainable for the long-term leadership journey that you're on. You can do it for a period of time, but it will run you dry and in the long run. So make sure what you do is sustainable and you're not trying to push every boundary all the time. And the third word is accountable, because we need people to be accountable, people who know what our margins need to be and will help us keep them, because the temptation, if you're a leader, is that you will drift into more and more things to do. You'll drift into busyness and activity and limit living if you're not really careful. So intentional, sustainable, accountable are three words that are important in this whole area of healthy margin development. So there's a thought. Healthy leaders are margin leaders. They build good margins into their life. Hope this has helped. It's just the first of a few on the whole area of the leader's well-being. So until we meet again next time in a fortnight, please stay well, keep well, and lead well.